Hello everyone and welcome to the finals of SCGMKE Milwaukee Open Weekend. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan, we are here in the booth. Nick Miller down in the feature match area doing a write-up for our final match between Vincenzo Balistreri playing at Green-Red Eldrazi against Tyler Schmidt playing Burn. Vincenzo's on 5. Might not be the best 5, but it is 5 to work with, and this is a deck that can be relatively explosive as there's a Goblin Guide. We'll have a trigger from Goblin Guide. Oh, I think you want that to attack, my friend.
If he strides to the top and knows it's a spell and doesn't want to show it.
All right, fair. You win. Look at you and Vincenzo. You two are just
on the next level.
Yes. Draw a card.
Oh yeah, he doesn't want to know about that.
Okay.
No.
All right, there's an Eldrazi temple. He does not want to know about old Swag Tusk. Look at you.
Oh.
There's a Bloodstained Mire.
Now, I don't know if you necessarily want to scry the Thragtusk to the top with being so far away from being able to cast it. That's a different question. But Balistreri definitely want to conceal that information.
See what comes next year for Tyler Schmidt. His Goblin Guy got lightning bolted. This will be a Rift Bolt on suspend.
And now Schmidt has a little information to work with too, because he knows that based on that lightning bolt, Balistreri had to have a spell of high value on the top of the deck.
Mm-hmm. Picked up a copy of Noble Hierarch. Fall down to 18, will Vincenzo. To play the Noble Hierarch, there's a Carpusian Forest, pass the turn back. Rift Bolt, where's it going? It's going upstairs. Vincenzo's hand, 2 5-mana spells. Reality Smasher, Thragtusk. Schmidt will sacrifice the Bloodstained Mire. Be a good time for a Searing Blaze.
Though, if Schmidt doesn't have a land drop here, and he's just on 1 spell turn territory, if Balistreri rips a land for the Reality Smasher, he might be a little bit faster from this spot.
There is Searing Blaze. Yeah, land here for Reality Smasher would be a real doozy. Definitely change the complexion of this game as Balistreri has fallen down to 12. Matter Reshaper, not Reality Smasher. Matter Reshaper is the play. Pass the turn back.
Yeah, the hope here for Balistreri is that Schmidt has to interact with the table and isn't just lava spiking you out of the game and gives you the time to get to Thragtusk.
Matter Reshaper, the boring old 3/2. When it dies, nice little trigger. If it costs 3 or less, it goes on the battlefield if you want it to. If it costs more, it goes to your hand. This, ooh. I'm a little surprised by this. This could be really, okay. This could be really good for Vincenzo.
Oh yeah, if he peels a land here, he can cast Thragtusk.
He peeled a land to cast Thragtusk. I would cast Thragtusk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very surprised to see a Searing Blaze that turn there from Tyler Schmidt.
Yeah, that's just not enough respect for the main deck, Thragtusk or Batterskull.
Yeah. Vincenzo now up to 14.
Because with the Wooded Foothills on the table, you can just take the hit and Searing Blaze on a turn if that's how it goes. You don't have to do it straight away. And I think Schmidt went from heavy favorite to win this game to now, I mean, well behind. He's going to die in 2 turns with the Reality Smasher that's left over in Balistreri's hand.
Monastery Swift Spear the draw. There is a Swift Spear. And now here's an Eidolon.
And Eidolon here is bad news for Schmidt also, the way that this is going to break, because Balistreri doesn't have to play into it, and if Schmidt is trying to race with a handful of small spells, that Eidolon is more harm than good.
Yeah, if I'm Vincenzo in this, but I think I'm just playing Reality Smasher and getting in with both.
Well, you can see the look on Balistreri's face here. He's thinking, so if I attack with everything and Schmidt just takes the hit, I'm on 14, and what happens with 3 spikes? I take 9, 10, 11, 12 on the prowess triggers, and then die. And if Schmidt draws land number 4, then a much wider array of those sequences are opened up. So it's not that hard for him to imagine dying here. And I think what I like about this line from Balistreri too is Schmidt has to cooperate a little bit. He has to play into his Eidolon the way things currently stand. If you attack with a Thragtusk, 2 things can happen. 1, Schmidt might just kill you on the way back. And 2, if Schmidt doesn't have the tools to do that right now, you let him block with the Eidolon and get out from under it.
Sure, turn his hand back on.
Right. I think this is really good patience here from Balistreri. That too many lines of play get him killed on the way back, especially with Schmidt having missed land drops. His hand's a lot of spells, and it's not too hard to think of a sequence of spells that kills him if he just attacks with both.
Oh, we head back over to Tyler Schmidt, who's got a Lightning Bolt, a Lightning Helix, a Skull Crack in hand.
And the Thragtusk is a really good defender right now, too. If Schmidt attacks with both, you just block the Swift Spear, take the 2 from the Eidolon, and make Schmidt continue to manage this through his own Eidolon. If he attacks with just the Swift Spear, you block that too. So, Balistreri definitely not out of the woods just yet. It's not hard for him to come up with 14 points of damage.
Just going to pass the turn back. Stomping Ground the draw. Curious how he wants to go about using his Ancient Stirrings.
Wouldn't cast it. Going from 14 to 12 against a deck that operates in multiples of 3s and 4s just opens up too many sequences where you get killed.
Well, Eidolon's going to jump in front. It'll be 3 trample damage. Now you can cast it. Now I think you're kind of happy to cast it.
Well, it's not quite that simple because either the Card Pollution Force or the Grove changes the shape of the damage race. But I still think the upside's so high here, especially if you find Thought Knot Seer or your Batter Skull.
Yeah, the Thought Knot Seer is what I'm thinking, if he's able to find one, which he wasn't. Found a Matter Reshaper.
Not a terrible consolation prize. It's at least something you can add to the battlefield. Allows him to attack for lethal next turn, which might force some action with the Swift Spear.
There's the Reshaper past the turn back. So let's see what's going to happen here. Time to fire up a couple spells if you're Tyler Schmidt. At least 1, maybe 2.
And don't target a creature. You got to go upstairs. Top shelf.
Boros Charm. Down to 10. Lightning Bolt, down to 7.
I think the leftover in Schmidt's hand is 6 points.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
Helix Skull Crack. I think that means he might get 1 more draw step at this then.
Yeah. I mean, not inconceivable for Balistreri to kill here.
Now play a land, pass turn back. Swift Spear is going to be on blocking duty, but a Reality Smasher ends this one. Let's see what the draw is. Didn't get a great look. Schmidt can still win this one.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay. Keswick Wolf Run.
That's a huge beating. Be surprising no attack with Matter Reshaper here.
Well, if you're worried about 2 spells, the Matter Reshaper represents the Swift Spear gets a free block there. Though I suppose so this is what's complicated. You attack with the Matter Reshaper along with the other 2 creatures.
Sure.
And Schmidt goes Swift Spear in front of Matter Reshaper. What do you do?
I'm not sure. Also, this is pretty tough too because activating Keswick Wolf Run is damaging.
Or you're giving Schmidt a point of. Oh yeah.
No,
He has to deal a point of damage to himself.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, no, he doesn't have to deal a point of damage to himself. He's got a stomping ground and a grove.
Okay, sure.
So the way he's organized his lands, he's put Wolf Run with Carplusian Forest and Stomping Ground, but he can do it with Grove and Stomping Ground. It would give Tyler Schmidt life, and he can Wolf Run for 4. You don't want to give him any life. Well, I mean, excuse me, you don't want to do yourself any damage.
I don't like blocking the Reality Smasher because that comes with trample baked in. You got to do something. If you're going to block here, I think you need to block in front of one of the non-tramplers and force Balistreri to make a move with the Wolf Run. Or he passes out of fear of some cards. You just take the hit, fall to non-lethal, shoot him for 6 at the end of your turn, and then hope to peel. And the way things are, you're drawing to every spell in your deck that's not Eidolon of the Great Revel.
Grim Lavamancer's in there or no?
1 Lavamancer, yep. There's a Lavamancer too. Even a Searing Blaze for 1 would be good enough.
That'd be good enough, yeah. All right, so block the Ragtusk. Yeah, you got to do it with Grove. And I think if you're Vincenzo, who's played really, really well this game, I think you have to imagine it can't be with Carplusian Forest.
No chance. It's just Grove.
Especially with the way that he cast his Ancient Stirrings. Gave a life away. I think the same thing translates. I think you know what you're playing against. You don't want to take any additional points of damage if you can help it.
So, this is so complicated.
Ooh, he took 1. Wow.
All right. Well, that if he feels like he needs to do this to come up with lethal this turn, then now he's just going to die to the 2 spells.
I'm a little surprised by that. I didn't think he'd take the 1. There's 2 burn spells. Yep, that's going to do it. So Tyler Schmidt's going to win game number 1 here over Vincenzo Balistreri. Burn is going to take game number 1 here over Green-Red Eldrazi. You see Vincenzo is a little bit upset with himself there, taking that 1 point of damage there off the Carplusian Forest. We'll never know if Tyler would have had that top deck or not.
Well, it's tough. I mean, if you're playing against Helix there in that spot, then it's really hard to do much of anything. You can't come across for lethal that turn. The alternative line that he has available to him is if you respect what's going on in Schmidt's hand, whatever possibilities are, you just attack for short of lethal that turn and overwhelm him the following turn. You give him the 1 draw step. I don't know if there's a way for him to win the game that turn against live cards, and so you're kind of stuck anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, these players are going to sideboard for game number 2. We'll go over their sideboards in just a moment, but first, a couple of words from our sponsors. We are back. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan. And getting ready here for game number 2 of our finals here from SCG Milwaukee Open Weekend. Vincenzo and Tyler, great game number 1. Vincenzo will be on the play for game number 2. See if he can keep more than 5 cards as we prepare to take a look at Tyler's sideboard. First, 3 Searing Blood, 2 Ensnaring Bridge, 2 Path to Exile, 2 Exquisite Firecraft, 2 Smash Smithereens, 2 Grab Trigger's Cage, 1 Shattering Speed, 1 Rest in Peace for the winner of game 1.
2 copies of Kitchen Finks and the 1 copy of Chalice of the Void.
Tyler's side.
Oh, Tyler's side, excuse me.
There you go.
3 Searing Blood through the 2 copies of Path to Exile, and that is about it.
You want Ensnaring Bridge here or no?
Ensnaring Bridge is fine. I could bring in Ensnaring Bridge. It's a little bit different with the information being public, but Bridge seems fine.
For Vincenzo, he's got 2 Ancient Grudge, 2 Grab Trigger's Cage, 2 Kitchen Finks, which I can tell you already want to bring in, 2 Natural State, 2 Relic of Progenitus, a Chalice and All His Dust, Kozilek's Return, Ratchet Bomb, and Warping Wheel.
I would bring in the Warping Whale here, the Chalice of the Void, the 2 copies of Kitchen Finks, and some amount of the removal to answer Ensnaring Bridge. I'm guessing Ancient Grudge is the most efficient at that. I guess it really doesn't have much in the way of options otherwise. The 1 Ratchet Bomb. Ratchet Bomb is a little bit slower at handling Ensnaring Bridge than Ancient Grudge, but has other utility.
Okay. Okay. Warping Wheel counters... Is it counter?
Sorcery.
No, which cards from Burn? Rift Bolt, Lava Spike?
Yeah. And exiles some creatures too, or exiles Lavamancer.
And Swift Spear?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, definitely sometimes on the Swift Spear one. Okay, that's not bad. It's only 1 of 2. I guess it depends on what you're just getting out of your deck then.
Obligator, probably.
And Dismember.
Dismember.
Dismember is really not good here. Those Mind Stones seem kind of bad too.
It depends. I don't know how baked into the mana base the Mind Stones are. Is that a card you can cut, or is that just part of the mana?
Sure, that makes sense. Want to hit some high impact cards off my Cascades if I can. My Blood Braids don't really want to hit Mind Stone.
Yeah, a fair concern.
Yeah. It's a little low impact. Game number 2 about to be underway here between Green, Red, Eldrazi, and Burn. Green Eldrazi, a deck that's starting to pick up a little bit more in Modern, folks. If you're looking for something new, you like guessing Thought-Knots here, this is a good place to go. I will say that. It's definitely a good place to go. Grand Prix winning deck, did well at Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan. Has been doing well in Modern on Magic Online. We're underway. Wooded Foothills for Vincenzo. Gonna get a basic forest. Now there's a Noble Hierarch. Good start here for a Green Red Eldrazi player. Over to Tyler Schmidt. He has a Goblin Guide off of an Inspiring Vantage. In, trigger, hello. This again, huh?
I'm curious how Schmidt's sideboarded here. I'm typically not a huge fan of the creatures on the draw because Eldrazi decks just brawl so well. You have very limited opportunity to do anything with them.
Thragtusk, the reveal. That'll be the draw step there for Vincenzo. This is a coup. Are you having nightmares? There's Kitchen Finks.
Yeah.
You've conceded to less.
Oh, I've conceded from exactly the spot. It was a Tattermunch Maniac instead of a Goblin Guide, but I just picked up my cards. Because this is what I don't have the appetite for.
Not anymore.
Attacking.
And not back then.
Attacking and then tanking on the block.
Yeah. Should I block?
Well, on one hand, I do get to kill this thing and gain 2, but on the other hand, this thing's so trivial that maybe I can even get a better spot than that. I don't have it in me for them to shuffle the cards around their hand while they're thinking about that.
Searing Blade is going to take care of the Noble Hierarch. Maybe a Mana Screw strategy being employed.
Well, you can't do it to the Finks.
That's true.
And also you just have to hope he's land screen.
This is a Matter Shaper.
You know he's got a Thragtusk. You are not beating him if he gets his mana. So.
And in comes the Finks. Let's go back over to Tyler Schmidt. Vincenzo's deck a lot different when it has 7 cards as opposed to 5. Looks like he might have a Kozilek's Return in hand too.
Yeah, and if I'm Balistreri on the play, I wouldn't even bother with that sort of card. I think Schmidt's creatures are just so bad past basically the first turn of the game that it's showing too much respect for an element of the deck I don't think he has to show that much respect for.
Balistreri will draw a copy of Batter Skull. Okay.
Although his hand's a little clawed right now. He's got his 4th land, a couple 5s, and a Kozilek's Return.
Kozilek's Return could be weirdly good right now.
Yeah, you might pick up 2 and trigger your Matter Reshaper. And when you're drawing to so many 5s, it's not too shabby.
It kills your Finks, you get some life back too. Just does a bunch of weird stuff on this battlefield. I like the attack. There's a land. Also, this is a very inviting. Go ahead, Goblin Guide. Why don't you come on in?
Water's warm.
Yeah, see what's going on. Schmidt gonna search up a land here off of that Arid Mesa. Here's Boros Charm. We're going upstairs. You're down to 12. Uh-oh. We're down to 9. Might be time to fire off that Kozilek's Return.
No, you got to protect yourself from another haste creature coming down before combat, I think.
Okay. Oh, drew another Goblin Guide.
Perfect. Well, I guess it wouldn't matter because you'd have your 2/1 things back to block, but still, I think it's better off waiting. You also could really use a look at some mana here.
Trigger. Stomping Ground. That's going to go to hand. I just don't know if you can afford to take this 2 points of damage.
I mean, that's a route to get killed in response to your Kozilek's Return if he has Boros Charm plus a 3. And the other upshot here is if you Kozilek's Return, if he doesn't Skull Crack, good, you've got the 2. And if he does Skull Crack, then the coast is clear next turn for your Thragtusk trigger.
So here's Cozy. Tyler's going to take a look. We'll do the same. Two damage, instant speed. Powerful card. It is devoid, of course. It has no color. I know it looks red. It's
That's
not.
a lie.
It looks red.
Cast it using red mana.
It is not red. So that's good that we're on the same page about that. And deals 2 damage to each creature at instant speed. So, good talk. A couple triggers here for Vincenzo. Kitchen Fangs. Gain 2 life. Matter Reshaper trigger. Ting.
Now it
Land 5.
doesn't even have to pay 2 for the Stomping Ground. And no Skull Crack over there in Schmidt's hand, so.
I think Thragtusk might be good enough this game. Wasn't good enough the last one. Here's Goblin Guide. Pass the turn back. Vincenzo will draw a Reality Smasher. Well, he's got a lot of really good 5-mana spells in his deck, I'll tell you what. Tyler Schmidt's job is to make it so that when they show up, they don't matter.
Yeah, Balistreri is really taking over this right now. I know it's risky, but you just got to try.
Up to 15. 15's a lot for Burn to deal now.
If he has it, it's not like you're necessarily beaten. If he doesn't have it, you're just a huge favorite to win the game.
Sunrise on the battlefield tapped. And Balistreri is going to pass the turn back. Boros Charm? Boros. No, they're going to be Lightning Helix going upstairs. Push you to 12. 12 to 13 in favor of Schmidt right now. He's going to need some real good ones here, folks. I think it's going to involve a lot of Boros Charms. See what this one is.
Or possibly Ensnaring Bridge.
True. Which I think he may have just drawn. Tyler Schmidt just drawn Snaring Bridge? No, he's got Boros Charm in hand. Mystery card over there, too.
We drew Snaring Bridge. I think he should cast it.
I'm with you on that one. And that'd be a really good thing to do right now. Don't have a great look at it, though. We'll see soon enough what it was. He'll just pass, so it was not Ensnaring Bridge, I believe. Well, thought not here. We're gonna find out. There's also Reality Smasher and Battered Skull in hand. Maybe he just goes to Smasher here. He's gonna go to Battered Skull. Okay. Trigger, get a Germ token. Alex Bostecki, former Invitational champion, is our Germ token here. Here comes Kitchen Finks.
It's a little conservative for my taste.
Yeah, it feels like Vincenzo's giving him too many turns. Too many turns.
And if you don't have an answer to Ensnaring Bridge in hand, I mean, even if you can't chain together lethal over the turns you're giving him, you're risking an extra draw step that finds an Ensnaring Bridge you can't answer.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm worried about. And he's going to concede the game. So Tyler Schmidt could not find Ensnaring Bridge and was not able to beat Battered Skull, so he will concede. So Vincenzo Balistreri is going to win game number 2 here over Tyler Schmidt. Green Red Eldrazi, Burn, getting ready for a third and final one. It is rather fitting that our largest open going to come down to a third and final game in the finals.
And the first time that Balistreri has been touched so far throughout the elimination rounds.
So we prepare for our last game here from Milwaukee, but first, a few messages from our sponsors. Last one, hopefully best one, as we have our final game here in front of us between Vincenzo Balistreri and Tyler Schmidt. Green Red Eldrazi, Burn. That's our final matchup. Getting ready here for game number 3. Schmidt will be on the play. Vincenzo on the draw. It's been a fun one here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin Convention Center. We packed the house full here. Over 1,000 players came to play Modern Action, our largest Open and SCG Tour history. I want to thank everybody who came out, thank everybody who watched at home as well. And it's been a good final so far, and I'm expecting a good third game between these two.
Yeah, 2 very compelling, close games.
Good decks, good players, had a lot of fun. Well, I know a lot of people in the Twitch chat rooting for Burn right now. A lot of people on Twitter rooting for Green Red Eldrazi. Both players really like these decks, or both the fans like these decks. No humans here, no Storm, no Caleb Shear.
Everyone likes every deck in small doses. That's just a rule.
I think that's true.
If you like Magic, you're probably drawn to the range of the experience. Every joke gets old when it's told too much.
I think everyone hates Tron. So
if Tron was 5% of the field instead of 25% of the field or whatever it is, 20%.
It's under that.
If it was Tron, imagine it was Urza-Tron's first tournament doing well. First time someone put together an expedition map in the Tron lands in 7s.
Okay.
People would be going.
They'd be losing their mind.
They would be losing their mind
That's
watching.
true.
They would be chanting turn 3 Tron.
That's true. That'd be just pounding that into the Twitch chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just true, actually.
So.
Do you remember where you were the first time you heard about Tron?
I do. I was in Eugene Harvey's living room.
Okay.
In 1995 or so.
Okay.
And he was using Urza-Tron to power out the Hive and Mishra's War Machine.
Okay.
Where were you? Somewhere way less cool, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not gonna even respond.
I'm not making that up.
I'm not even gonna respond.
Eugene had all the deck. It is a shame. I'm gonna go off a little bit.
Yeah, he's going. Here comes the Harvey.
The idea that Eugene Harvey isn't on the Hall of Fame ballot anymore is a disgrace, and the people on the voting committee responsible for that state of affairs should be ashamed of themselves. The end. Anyhow, Eugene Harvey had the first Urza-Tron deck that I ever knew of. It involved the Hive, Mishra's War Machine, Shapeshifter.
Shapeshifter, huh? Well, can you give me a synopsis of what the Hive? What is the boy? Look at
this. Is the
bands? Band 7 mana, perfect with Tron.
This was allegedly the inspiration for Mastercore. Much less powerful, conveniently though 7 mana. So if you Tron, you're just in it.
Yeah, game.
And you're just hitting for 4 and banding. What actually happened was you discarded a card and then it got disenchanted or plowed because everyone had 4 copies of both of those cards in their deck at the time.
It's good deck building. It's good deck building. Where I was when Tron, where I found it doesn't matter anymore because I can't top what just happened there.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It is not necessarily about topping.
I know
but
that.
My story is way more cool than whatever story you could possibly have.
Thank you. Glad we're on the same page about that. The Hive, huh? I'll make sure. You know where you can get your copies of that.
Might be on sale. There might be.
Could be on sale.
Might be some non-English Hives.
Could be on sale Monday.
Let's bring it up because the Hive is interesting. There are not a lot of instances of counter generation in Alpha, and it says treat wasp like artifact creatures in every way, except that they are removed from the game entirely if they ever leave play.
Got it.
Represent wasps with tokens, making sure to indicate when each wasp is tapped, which is really good because what happened in a playtesting game, I'm sure, is that someone attacked with 4 hives and left 1 back to block, and they just had 5 pennies on the table, and someone says you're cheating. How would I know if they were tapped or untapped? Looks like Schmidt kept a 1-lander.
It's not great. It's not great for Tyler right now.
Back to the action.
It's not great for Tyler right now. I'm sure people would love to hear you go off more about the Hive.
Great templating. Because there aren't that many examples of counters in Alpha. That I think there might be one other design. Warping Whale.
Yes. Make a creature.
Got big plans for that mana.
Make a Scion.
Or he's just going to get busy in the red zone next turn, whichever.
I think he's got bigger plans. Make a Scion, cast the Reality Smasher. Let's get this tournament over with. And if you want to bolt that, feel free. Draw, that was a Matter Reshaper. For Vincenzo. I like that they put bands on cards, like anyone knows what that could possibly mean.
Oh, it's a compression. It's a really good compression of text. Bands means, all right, are you ready? Take a deep breath. And
there's a Matter Reshaper. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, creatures can attack in bands. Do you know what that means?
Sort of.
Okay, so you can declare an attack as a band. You can have one non-banding creature in the band. And instead of the defending player assigning combat damage, you distribute among the band. Keywords are only shared if the entire band has it. So 3 flying creatures together can band, and they can only be blocked by flying creatures. If there's a non-flyer in the band, then they lose flying and so forth. On defense, you only need one bander in the block, or one bander to block with any number of creatures.
I can't do this. I can't do this. This is too much. Banding is too much.
I'm just describing it.
I understand. It's too much. Vincenzo's at 9. I think he's about to go to 11.
Yeah. I like Kitchen Finks this turn.
I'm a big fan of Kitchen Finks this turn as well. Unless this is like a Thrak Tusk.
Thought not.
There it is.
Like this.
Got a nice little battlefield to work with. Got some life to work with. Bloodbraid Elf in hand. Got to try to make this a 3-turn game at the very least, I think.
Yeah, and a Nature's Claim here, which looks like it's...
Natural state.
Natural state, excuse me.
Tyler, second land? Nope. It's a tough way to go.
I don't know. I keep one-landers on the all the time, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
If you lost this way, you would have just lost mulliganing and getting hit by Thought-Knot Seer, so don't even worry about it.
Reality Smasher was the draw here for Vincenzo.
It's disappointing, but what isn't these days?
Things have just gotten slightly darker here at the booth.
Yeah.
Vincenzo deciding if he wants to go to Reality Smasher, or if he wants to go to Bloodbraid Elf. Maybe leave up Natural State.
I like Reality Smasher as a name quite a bit. It's like, what smashed you last round? Reality.
Yes.
Keeps happening.
And it's hard to kill.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're going to leave Finks back on defense just in case. It's going to be a 2-turn clock no matter what. Pass the turn back. Schmidt will draw. And he will extend the hand. Vincenzo Balistreri is going to win this match here over Tyler Schmidt, 2-1. Green Red Eldrazi will take care of Vernon for your number 1 overall seed here in the elimination rounds, and he's been on top of the standings for most of the weekend. He is your champion at the largest SCG Tour Open of all time.